The one where Heckles dies is easily one of my favourite season 2 Friends episodes, and maybe one of the most quotable. This is the second episode of the second season, and it's coming at a good time because up until this point, things have been quite heavily focused on Ross and Rachel, Julie and Ross, and to have something that just completely shifts focus and is a standalone episode and also focuses more on Chandler as well is something that I thought worked really well. There will be spoilers in this discussion because there are some specific things that I want to discuss and go into a little bit of detail about. From the very beginning, it's amazing. It starts off with Mr. Heckles knocking on Monica and Rachel's door and saying, "You're being noisy, keep it down, you're disturbing my birds." They establish that he doesn't have birds, he could have birds. They agree to try and keep it down. And he keeps banging on the ceiling, his ceiling, their floor, with a broom, and they stomp back in return, and it all goes quiet. They've won. They're cheering. And then it cuts immediately to a scene where they are making a very, how would you describe the noise they make? Despondent, maybe? They realise that Mr. Heckles has died, and that's why it went quiet. And there's a fabulous thing where Phoebe shouts, "Go into the light, Mr. Heckles," and I've quoted that on so many occasions, just randomly over the years. It's one of my most quoted Friends quotes, I think. I absolutely love it. And it turns out that Mr. Heckles has actually left everything he owns to Monica and Rachel. How fantastic! Well, it seems to be fantastic until they realise that his home is a dump. It's a mess. He doesn't have any kind of riches or wealth. He just has a bunch of what most of us would view as hoarding tat. And a lot of the episode is about them picking through the things and coming up with unusual objects like the seashell lamp and the girly clock and the weird magnifying glass thing. And it's a lot of fun. It's quirky. It's a very different episode. And it's got a very different pace. It's not as I was going to say it's not as emotional, even though one of the characters died. But I think it worked very well. It is a little bit emotional from Chandler's perspective because Chandler realizes that the way his life is heading, he might end up being like Mr. Heckles if he doesn't do anything. And he calls Janice. Things don't exactly work out there. The impressions the others do of Janice, I absolutely love. Something else that I adore every time I hear it is the noise Chandler makes when he drops the broom. He's holding the broom, and it then occurs to him that that's the broom Heckles was holding when he dies, and then he makes an incredible sound as he drops the broom. And I absolutely love it. We do have a subplot going through here, and that is Phoebe saying that she doesn't believe in evolution. And of course, Ross gets a little bit confused by this, and they keep going back and forth, much to Phoebe's irritation, until she finally lets loose and gives Ross this tremendous, fabulous speech about how even the brightest people who were adamant about certain things were eventually proved wrong, the earth being flat, etc. And I think that's a beautiful thing to remember. Everything we think we know might not be true, because once upon a time people were just as determined to state something as fact that we now know to not be true. And I really enjoyed it. It's a fabulous episode. As I said, it's absolutely one of my favourites from the second season. The pacing is amazing. The transitions between scenes are fabulous and really heighten the comedy. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm pretty confident that the one where Heckles dies will always be a firm favourite.